This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along. So, Crown Jewel. Guys, honestly, I thought it was pretty rubbish. No real returns, no cash-in, just a placeholder of a PLE. Bring on Survivor Series at the end of the month. That's all I can say. So how did I do with my predictions? Predictably not great. Cody did beat Gunther. That one was right. And Liv beat Nia. There was no cash-in and no Charlotte. The six-man tag, Team Roman did not win. No Heyman and no Rock. Seth versus Bronson. I said Bronson for the win, so I was wrong. And Randy versus KO never happened. LA Knight did retain, and Jade and Bianca also retained again. No returns in that match, nothing exciting at all. Yawn thoroughly. They've got to get the titles off Bianca and Jade soon. It's so boring, and there are other teams ready in the wings. Come on, Trips. You've got to sort out this women's tag team division. Talent's outstanding, and you've just got to get them off. Got to get her titles off of Bianca and Jade. So real quick before we dive into the show, let's talk releases. After last week, I said about Indy Hartwell, and this week she's gone, been released, along with Baron Corbin, who seemed to have lost his way a long time ago, and Tegan Knox, which is a shame, but she's been plagued with some pretty serious knee injuries. So sad times, all quite prominent stars, I'd say. So always a shame when obviously people lose their jobs. A little bit of a shock about Indy, actually. Not clear in the circumstances of the releases. I know that some of them had reached the end of their contracts and just chosen not to renew, and some of them were just old-fashioned releases. I don't have any details. I'm not in any way close to anything, but I think it's a shame. So, with that being all said, let's dive into the review of this week's SmackDown, which came from Buffalo in New York. First off, we get the arrival of the Bloodline, looking very moody and dangerous, all in black, with their hoods up. Apparently tonight is going to be the ceremony for the Undisputed Tribal Chief Acknowledgement, which, if you ask me, seems incredibly made up, but there we go. And then we get a replay from Crown Jewel and what went down at the end of the match, including Sammy's return, to the OG Bloodline. I guess it was a return of sorts. If we're scraping the barrel on my earlier predictions of no returns from Crown Jewel. And we get the footage of the quote-unquote misunderstanding between Sammy and Roman, hoping for more details tonight. Back to the show, and very first off tonight, we get Roman's music hitting, and the Buffalo crowd go nuts. Out comes Roman with Jimmy in tow, and from Raw, we know that Jay has asked Sammy to show up here tonight. We don't know yet if he will. Just a note, Roman's new OTC shirt has Yeet on it, which I think is very cool. And Cole reminds us that Roman has only been pinned twice in 5 years, making it a real big deal that Solo got the pin on Roman at Crown Jewel, which is fair enough. Roman goes and gets his own mic, which is progress. I guess he's taking this everyone's equal thing seriously. That, I guess, until Heyman comes back. Just before Roman can start talking, though, we have Jay's music hit, and out comes a very serious-looking Jay. Roman doesn't look altogether delighted to have been interrupted. And Jay is the first one to get to speak. and he says he thinks there is a lot of misunderstanding going on tonight, and that he wants Roman to hear him out, him being Sammy. And then bang on cue, Sammy's music hits, and he makes his way to the ring. He is also looking very quiet and keeping everything on the down low. The crowd aren't. They are chanting very enthusiastically for Sammy Uso. Sammy says that he has come because he wants to address what happened to Crown Jewel. The kick to the face was not on purpose, it was an accident. And the only reason he turned up was because of Jay. That's to Crown Jewel. He says that isn't the case tonight. He says it has been a long time since they've all been in the ring together, but when the four of them were back in the ring together at Crown Jewel, it took him back to a very special time in his life when it was all about family. He says that despite all the issues, a part of him still has a soft spot for that time. He knows they all felt it on Saturday, and he says the only reason they're all there, including Roman, is that they all want it back. Sammy says that everyone thinks the opposite reaction to love is hate, but actually it's indifference. And Sammy says he thinks Roman isn't indifferent to him and that he loves him. Roman starts smirking, and Sammy says they can have what they had, they can roll it back, and he puts the ball in Roman's court and says that if he says the word, he will walk away, but he knows Roman wants them back together. He just needs one thing, and that's an apology from Roman. And that seems to be very unlikely. Roman says, wait, you want me to apologise to you? And then Sammy says, no, the apology is for Jay. Ooh. We get a massive pause. The crowd are chanting to hug it out, and Roman does apologise, but he doesn't mean it. He apologises that he came out here tonight, and that he apologises that he let Jay waste his time, goes off on one about family and blood and how it isn't about Sammy, it's about Solo and family. Roman calls out Solo and Sammy leaves the ring, and instead of Solo coming out, we get Jacob Fatu on the big screen, and he says he understands that it's been a long time since Roman was tribal chief, and he's obviously forgotten how it works. He says Solo is tribal chief and Roman is just everyone else. Solo will come out when he wants and Roman will acknowledge that. So that kind of, I felt, slightly awkwardly ends the segment. I think we know that we are headed for Sammy returning full-time to the Bloodline, just to make up the numbers, if nothing else. We've still got 3 weeks-ish before Survivor Series to make it happen. And I'm sure we'll get some very convincing will they, won't they? Maybe even right up until the last minute, but I am confident we'll get there. This Bloodline versus OG Bloodline is shaping up fantastically, and I can't wait for the build and the subsequent PLE. Very much looking forward to it. We then go backstage, and we have a very serious-looking Bayley. Everyone is looking very serious tonight. Maybe something in the buffalo water. She is en route to the ring to face Candice LeRae. Before we go to the match, we go backstage and we see the OG Bloodline. Jay said he asked him to do one thing and he didn't do it. Roman says, why does Jay even care, and starts to go off old school Roman style. Jay says that's his one pass and walks off. Roman then has a go at Jimmy, who he tells to go find Jay. And I thought this is an interesting strategy from the OTC, alienating the only two people that he currently has on his side at the moment. I'm thinking this is all part of the slow build to reformation. It definitely seems like the original tribal chief needs his wise man. We go back to some action and we get Bayley coming out to a fantastic pop. And we get Cole telling us that he spoke to Bayley earlier and she just wants to get back to her winning ways. We now get Candice, who after Indy's release last week is all alone. We get a reminder of the tag team match that resulted in Candice pinning Bayley a couple of weeks ago. As we kick off the match, we get Candice going for a quick cover, which is unsuccessful. And Cole is retelling the story we got previously about Candice feeling overlooked in favour of Bayley. And there being some genuine resentment from Candice towards Bayley. So it seems that could be a real thing. Either that or they're committing to it as part of the story. Either way, that's cool. Storytelling away from the title picture in the women's division is real progress as far as I'm concerned. So Bayley kicks out of the early cover. They tie up in the centre of the ring. Bayley takes over with a couple of quick moves, followed by a cover attempt. And as we go for the break, Candice hangs Bayley up on the ropes and is in charge. As we get back from the break, Candice remains in charge, but Bayley mounts a fight back. Candice takes it to the corner, and Bayley counters, chucking Candice to the apron, and the women fight on the outside of the ropes. Bayley goes face first off the ring post as Candice goes up top with a missile drop kick. Bayley then comes back at Candice with a huge clothesline and drives Candice into the corner. And Bayley then hangs up Candice on the second rope. Bayley gets a near fall. Bayley up top, but Candice rolls out of the way and it looks like Candice is injured. And the ref asks Bayley to step away, but as predicted, Candice is playing possum and tries to rush Bayley with a roll up from behind, but Bayley was ready, manages to sidestep and roll up Candice for the 3 count and the win. Short and sweet match, wondering if that's it for these two now. Maybe that was the end, or maybe we continue. I would like to see Bayley have her chance at a title again. Either way, not completely sure what the future is for Candice. We now go backstage where our tag team champs, the Motor City Machine Guns, are warming up. And Johnny Gargano comes up to offer his congratulations and wish them luck. The Motor City Machine Guns thank them and say they can't wait to get back into the ring with DIY again. At that point, Tommaso Ciampa appears and starts having a go at Johnny for being too close to Motor City Machine Guns. Johnny says that he's known them since he was 19. Ciampa isn't happy at all. Now, could we be going down the road of splitting up DIY and a Johnny Ciampa feud? As you guys know, I don't watch NXT, but even I watched their amazing feud a few years ago, and I would not mind seeing that again, replayed on the main roster. We then get Randy, which is quite the surprise, walking very purposefully to the ring. Now, production-wise, I love this. Remember in the Vince era when we used to get segment by segment and it was like many different shows all chopped up. It was almost like the wrestlers couldn't even see each other, never mind interact if they weren't directly feuding. But this is fab because we get Randy walking in a strop, obviously past all the action that's just gone on. And all the, everyone's letting on to each other and yeah, it's good. Very fab stuff. Anyway, Randy, looking mad as hell, coming to the ring. Cole says what a surprise this is and how he was not expected tonight after what happened at Crown Jewel. Now, we don't get any of Randy's normal, protracted, long entrance. I'm not sure if I just missed it as it was over the break or if it didn't happen. He did just get directly in the ring. But as we come back to it, he is in the ring and he starts cutting his promo straight away. He says at Crown Jewel, this was only the beginning and he is ending this bleep, don't want to swear, right now. He says, KO, get yourself out here, and he's going to end this now. KO is on the ramp, but is being stopped coming down by officials, but eventually he does make his way to the ring. Side note, absolutely love his new Kevin is Right t-shirt. I might actually have to buy that one. He gets straight into the ring and they just start fighting, punching each other, fighting. Eventually they're split up, but KO is fighting dirty and he hits a pile driver, a move we haven't seen for eons in WWE for good reason, on Randy. And Cole says that there's a reason that move was banned and it looks pretty bad. Corey asks the guys in the truck to send medics and Randy honestly really is selling it like a trooper. We have a ring full of officials and medics, and of course Cody is there too, because other than this he wasn't actually on TV tonight at all. As the medics come out, he gets put very carefully onto a stretcher, and they really took their time with this. They didn't just roll him onto the stretcher and take him away. This was actually fairly believable. They were being very careful with him. So as he was being wheeled away through the arena and through the backstage area, I was thinking, we're going to have to get an attack from KO here, but we didn't. We just got Randy being taken away in the ambulance, and Cody goes with him. Nick Aldis, or as we know him, Oblivion the Gladiator, says he will take care of it, and looks like they want us to think that Randy is off TV for a while. Maybe he is until Survivor Series. Don't think that this is a real injury. Cole says that KO needs to be stopped. This has been going on for weeks and references the car park incident, etc. And Corey says that tonight KO has crossed a whole different line. So back to the action, and we have Pretty Deadly in the ring and DIY already there, so no entrances for either team at all. Don't know if they were running tight on time or whether that was just a deliberate act to try not to be too celebratory in the wake of Randy's quote-unquote injury. As the match starts, it starts very quickly, actually, while Cole is still doing a promo for Prime, and the camera didn't seem entirely ready either, so we kind of missed the start of the match. But Ciampa, who clearly has the royal hump tonight, starts kicking the hell out of Pretty Deadly, launching Kit into the ring post and then smashing Elton's head off the announce table repeatedly. Ciampa continues a solo beatdown on both of Pretty Deadly outside the ring, and Ciampa hits Fairy Tale ending on Elton and gets the win without even tagging in Johnny. Wow, what a message to send. This is an interesting angle. Seems Ciampa is going a bit rogue, and I'm totally here for that. Ciampa isn't hanging around to celebrate at all, and Cole references the Blackheart version of Ciampa from NXT. See, I told you so. We then get a shot of Roman backstage, looking thoughtful. Some excellent smell the fart acting. One for the Friends fans there. I know there's a couple of you that listen. And then next up, we have a tag match. And it's the women's champs, Bianca and Jade, versus Tiffy and Nia. Before that, we get Candice confronted backstage by Tiffy, who says it looks like her win over Bayley last week was a fluke, and that she will need to do better than that to earn Nia's respect. We then have Nia busting in, asking Tiffy if this match was her idea. Tiffy says she did, and imagine them as tag team champs, and this match would put them as number one contenders ahead of Liv and Raquel. And Candice seems to be trying to get in between Nia and Tiffy, and inserting herself as the right-hand woman, saying if she had been at Crown Jewel, Nia would have won. Now, I'm interested in how this one plays out. Like I said in last week's show, if we get a Tiffy and Nia split, happy days, and Candice is the perfect new accomplice for Nia, especially now she is without Indy. That clears the way for that particular alliance. So perhaps it all is starting to fit together. We get all the entrances as normal and get started with Tiffy and Jade in the ring. Jade on the offence first off, but Tiffy gets a massive slap to Jade's face, which just seems to annoy her. Nia tags in and hits a Samoan drop on Jade, whilst Tiffany runs around and pulls Bianca off the apron. As we get back from the break, Nia is still in charge and has a chokehold on. Jade tries to counter, but gets a massive headbutt for her trouble, and somehow manages to suplex Nia and make the tag. We now have Tiffy and Bianca, and we have Belair in charge, with some shoulders in the corner, and Tiffy has Bianca's hair, but Bianca manages to counter with a spine buster. Nia is back in, and Bianca tries to get Nia up for a KOD but can't. Nia has Bianca up on the shoulders, and Tiffy hits a blockbuster, pinning Bianca for 2, which is only broken up at the last second by Nia. We now have Nia and Jade trading blows, and both women roll out. Tiffy and Bianca, though, are still legal. Belair hits a spear, and Nia distracts the ref, while Candice shoves Belair off the ropes. We then have Naomi coming out to deal with Candice. Meanwhile, Bianca hits the kiss of death on Tiffy and gets the cover for the win. Slightly chaotic at the end. It feels like maybe perhaps we are building towards Jade and Nia at some point, hopefully, after Jade and Bianca drop the titles and once Nia and Tiffy split. This is interesting, and as always, it's great to see so many of the women's division getting time on TV. But yeah, slightly chaotic with the Naomi angle as well coming in at the end, but not complaining. All good. We now go backstage and see Theory and Waller, who are, as always, completely full of themselves. And we now have them out in the ring versus the Motor City Machine Guns. And I thought this was an interesting bit here because Cole says originally this was meant to be Motor City Machine Guns on the Grayson Waller effect, but Nick Aldis had changed it to a match, as he acknowledges that whoever is on the Grayson Waller effect, it usually just ends up in a match anyway, so he's cut out the middleman. I love that. I said it last week, and obviously everyone knew it, so this is great stuff. A little sort of mini peek behind the curtain. It's like WWE kind of a little bit calling our bluff and saying, yeah, we know you know. But here you go. We know you know. Do you know we don't know that you know? Anyway, as we kick off, we have Theory in with Shelley and a tag Sabre and a quick cover. Waller's tagged in and Sabre controlling Grayson's arm and has the upper hand, but Grayson manages to take him out with a flying kick stroke knee and is now in charge, but a blind tag is made and Shelley goes for a quick cover. Shelley has Waller in the corner delivering punches and also manages to somehow take Theory out too. Waller gets a cover on Shelley but kicks out, and we go for a break, and as we come back, Shelley is being double teamed by A-Town Down Under, with Waller just generally trash talking. And he chucks Shelley out of the ring, but misses a punch, allowing Shelley to try for the tag. Waller with a knee right to the nose, which I think is literally the most painful thing that can happen, and a double tag made. Sabre kicking Theory's ass, and Waller knocked off the apron too. Sabre with a missile drop kick, driving Theory out of the ring, and a double team move through the ropes takes out Waller and Theory. Back in the ring, and a tag is made, a close cover as a result of some great double team offense from Motive City Machine Guns. Tag is made, and we have Sabre in with Theory, who goes for A-Town Down, but misses it. Waller hits a flatliner, leaving Theory with the cover, but he only gets a 2 count. We then get Waller in, who just starts punching Sabre in the face, and takes off from the second rope, misses an elbow. We get a tag for the Machine Guns with a double kick, and then Shelley off the top rope with the Skull and Bones to get the pin for the win. I really like these guys. Cole keeps telling us that these guys are our favourite tag team's favourite tag team, and I get that. They are so talented. It was brilliant stuff once again from them tonight. I hope that they continue to get a good push and that they can keep hold of these men's titles for a long-term run, because I really think that WWE have pulled off a coup getting these guys into the business, and excited to see where this can go. Again then, we get a shot of a brooding Roman. Apparently he's just going to sit backstage sulking while we see Solo crowned as undisputed tribal chief. Cannot see that happening. We then get an update on Randy, and we get told he's not at a local medical facility. They actually use the word hospital, which is quite unusual for WWE, and apparently he is being assessed for undisclosed cervical injuries. So I guess that Randy is off TV until Survivor Series, where hopefully we get a really good blow-off match between him and KO. That's quite exciting. We then get the Machine Guns backstage, confronted by DIY, or to be more specific, actually, just Ciampa, really. Before he can get going properly, he's interrupted by the Profits, who say they have them next. They have already spoken to Nick Aldis, and it's official. Next week, Street Profits versus Machine Guns. Ciampa kicks off at Johnny, and it looks like the split of DIY is on, and the turn of Ciampa. Okay, then we get a really interesting segment. I don't know about you guys, but I for sure did not see this coming. Although I do listen to every other WWE podcast really going, and there's one really good one from the UK, which I won't mention the name of because it doesn't seem fair to Matt and the WWE podcast. But they had a interesting interview this week with Tiffany Stratton, where they were talking about this next thing. So I wonder if it was out there in the ether. But anyway, I digress. Getting to the point. We get face-to-face with Nick Aldis talking down the camera, and he starts talking up the women's division and saying how ceilings have been broken, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Bars have been raised, etc. And at first I thought, oh yes, we're getting Evolution 2, we're getting another women-only pay-per-view. But then he steps aside to reveal the women's US title. So we've got a women's mid-card title. I did not see that coming. Wow, this is quite exciting. And he says that it must be earned, not awarded. So I'm guessing we have a tournament coming up to decide the first champ. Now, he spoke very specifically to SmackDown. So do we think this means Raw will have the women's Intercontinental Champion? Can the women's division support a whole nother belt? I don't know, but it will be very cool to find that out. And I think this is really exciting. I don't know if it'll work or not. Who knows? It feels like the division is very strong. They haven't done an amazing job with the women's tag titles, but let's see where we go with this. I think it can only be a good thing, expanding the product, and let's see where we go with it. So next week we have a championship match, Nia versus Naomi, and then we have the previously advertised tag team match, the Street Profits versus the Motor City Machine Guns. So lots of opportunity for gold to change hands next week on the show, which is always really exciting. And now we have what I guess would be the main event of the evening. We've got the Bloodline with Solo making their way out for the ceremony. They get sufficiently Healy welcome to Buffalo, and on the way to the ring, the Temu Bloodline sign literally made me laugh out loud. That's one of the funniest things I've seen. Solo tells Buffalo to acknowledge him and gets roundly booed. Before we go any further, we get Roman's music hitting. So it seems he isn't sitting backstage sulking. Shock. Literally no one is shocked. Cole makes the point that Roman is all alone and has alienated anyone who might have helped him. Solo says it's good to see you. And before the crowd acknowledge him, he needs Roman to acknowledge him as the undisputed tribal chief. Roman says, Buffalo, do you acknowledge him? And let me tell you guys, they do not. There is a lot of booing. And he says, neither do I. I won't ever acknowledge you. I am here to challenge you one-on-one. Winner is the only tribal chief. Solo laughs, quite a maniac type laugh, and says he doesn't need to fight him. He is already the undisputed tribal chief. Solo then challenges Roman to find 4 other people who will team up with him and they can go to war. Roman says, are you talking about war games? I only see 4 of you. Solo says the 5th guy is Sami Zayn. Sami appears on the ramp looking sheepish, and off the distraction, the Bloodline attack. Solo says the attack at Crown Jewel wasn't a mistake, and Sami meant to kick Roman in the face It's all part of Solo's plan. Out come the Usos, legging it past Sami on the ramp to help. But Jacob Fatu takes them both out, and Solo has Roman set up ready for a spike in the ring and calls Sami into the ring. And he comes down, and Solo tells him to kick Roman in the face. And Sami lines up, and it looks like that is what's going to happen, but Sami doesn't, and he takes out Solo with a Helluva kick instead. Fatu jumps into the ring and is Superman punched by Roman, and then kicked in the face by Sami. Roman then spears, and we are left with just Roman and Sami in the ring. Jay and Jimmy join them, and one by one we get them all putting up the ones. And when it gets to Sami, the crowd goes wild, and then when it gets to Roman and he does it, they go even more wild, and we have the OG Bloodline back together. Yay! I mean, that was a lot quicker than I expected. I thought we were going to have maybe a few weeks building, will they, won't they, but apparently not, which is great because we all just want to get there quick. So the OG Bloodline appears to be back together with the ones up in the ring, and the new Bloodline scuttle off up the ramp, and it looks like we are all set for the Survivor Series match, War Games, which is fab. Guys, I thought this was a brilliant show tonight. Absolutely love it, and I forgive WWE for the crappy crown jewel. A new women's title, the OG Bloodline back, tag titles for the men hotting up, Nia, Tiffy, Candice triangle continues, all quality stuff. Absolutely loving the product at the moment. Once again, feeling very lucky to be able to review SmackDown in such a fruitful time. So nothing but love for tonight's show. As I said, made up for a completely crappy crown jewel, in my opinion. Others may have enjoyed it. I did not. As you will notice, I haven't plugged my X/Twitter account. I don't think I'm going to bother because, you know, Elon Musk. So screw him and screw Twitter, I think. I'll maybe have a look at Threads and we'll see what we do. Anyway, that just about does it for this week's show. And as always, thank you for having me in your ears. And until next time, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.